New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Good evening, and welcome to the Miracle of Prosperity here on the New Thought Media Network. I'm your host, Reverend Jim Webb, author of the newly released book, Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, which is part of the Soul of Prosperity series, which includes the Soul of Prosperity, Prosperity from A to Z, 30 P's to Prosperity, and Create Your Self-Manifesting Vision Board. All of these books work together in a series, with the Soul of Prosperity being the big book, and the others being supplements to important aspects of the Soul of Prosperity. But we're not here to talk about that tonight. Tonight we're here to talk about all of the different ways that prosperity can be made manifest. You see, prosperity is more than just money and stuff. Prosperity is physical prosperity, where your body works optimally for its purpose. Prosperity is relationship prosperity, where your relationships are uplifting and sources of comfort and peace with harmony. Prosperity is professional prosperity, where, in the words of Florence Scovel Shinn, you have a wonderful job with wonderful pay where you provide a wonderful service in a wonderful way. Prosperity is also spiritual prosperity, where you have the peace that passes all understanding. And of course, prosperity is financial and economic prosperity, where you have the resources to do what you need to do to move through life, and you have enough to spare and enough to share. So prosperity is all those things, and it begins within and then is outpictured in your world. So prosperity begins within, and the substance that creates prosperity is love. And when prosperity shows up in your outer world, it is simply all the different forms that love can take. But you know what blocks that love? What blocks that love is unforgiveness, grievances. A Course in Miracles says that grievances hide the light of God, and grievances do not allow God's light to take the form of prosperity. So tonight, we're going to be discussing Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, how you can use forgiveness in order to allow more prosperity. And we've got a special guest. That special guest is me. Hi.
Wasn't I supposed to do the opening?
Yeah, but I was waiting for you.
Oh, well, that's okay. I figured since you had the script in front of you. So now we're going to reverse roles. I'm going to interview him.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, hi there. Welcome. Happy birthday, Reverend Jim. And um, we get a birthday gift, and that is your brand new book here, Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, which I have somewhere here. Hold on here. I will put that up on the screen here. All right.
And everybody,
And
let us know you're here. Tell us hello.
yes, let us know, everyone, that you're here this evening. And let's see here. We'll put that up there. That's the brand new book, Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, and written by Reverend Jim. And so we're going to ask questions here. And one of the things that we're going to do this evening here is not only am I going to interview Jim, but you're going to interview Jim. All right. So if you could put your questions in the chat, we'll make sure to get them up. All right. So I actually read the book today. I know that usually that show hosts usually don't do that, but I did download the book. It's about 24 pages. So this is what I got out of the book.
Hmm.
All right. So traditionally, even in spiritual circles, is that forgiveness is something that we do to other people.
Hmm.
It's a verb. So it's something that it's an action. It's something that we do uh, for other people with us receiving the benefit. Now, what you're saying, though, and what I got out of the book is that forgiveness in and of itself is a state of mind and heart. So, what is the difference? And explain that for us this evening, because I'm
Yes.
not sure.
Yes. Okay. I'd be happy to. You see, it's so jarring to take such a different approach to forgiveness because traditionally we've always thought of forgiveness as a verb. But if you want a radical change in your circumstances, it requires a radical change in your thinking. So, this approach to forgiveness is somewhat radical, and that different approach will create radical changes in your life. A state of being as opposed to a verb. You see, what happens when we forgive another is we perpetuate this idea of our victimhood and their oppression. Somebody who did us wrong, when we say, I forgive you, we perpetuate that state of wrongdoing. We perpetuate that state of grievance. Now, you realize, as we all realize as metaphysicians and as New Thought people, that when you say, I am, you create what comes after that, right?
Absolutely.
When you say, I forgive you for, in a sense, you are saying, I am. Because the universe only knows of the energy that you are putting forward. So when you say, I forgive you for this, you are putting forward that energy and you are locking yourself in that energy pattern and you are locking the other person in that energy pattern. And it's almost like you being a prisoner and them being the jailer. Because over time, this role solidifies and your role as a victim solidifies because that's what you've been putting out to the universe. And so we have to break this pattern. And if you want to break this pattern, a radical difference in thinking is what is required. So, what if forgiveness didn't keep you in a state of grievance or oppression or victimhood? What if forgiveness set you free from that state? It would require a different inner state, right?
Right.
And so we attain the state of forgiveness by going within. You see, there's this old spiritual thing when you point a finger out, you've got three fingers pointed back, right? And as New Thought people, we've always understood that what we put out into the universe is what we see reflected to us so that we can heal it and our souls have made an agreement to come to the earth in order to see the errors of our thoughts so that we can then correct them. So what we're seeing in our world is just a correction. And because we are so powerfully creative, if we spend our energy castigating that, if we spend our energy mad about that, if we spend our energy focusing on that, we're going to get more of it. So we spend our energy focusing on who did us wrong, why they did us wrong, what's wrong with them, and our anger. We're going to just get more of that. So there's a different way. And that way is to say, wait a minute. What is the thought within me that supports this experience? Is it a thought within me where I do not feel loved? Is it a thought within me where I do not feel important or embraced? Is it a thought within me where I feel that something's wrong with me and therefore others have license to hurt me? Is it a thought within me where I unconsciously am hurting myself because of my own judgments or criticism, and that person is only reading a script that I handed them? So if we ask ourselves those types of questions, we start realizing that we have a need to be at inner peace. We have a need to be in stillness. We have a need to allow the light and grace of God to heal our hearts and our minds so that any thoughts like that are healed. And when we heal any thoughts like that, we are in an inner state of peace, synonymous with an inner state of oneness with God, oneness with light, oneness with love, and oneness with grace. And that is an inner state of forgiveness. So it's not grievance and forgiving, it's grievance and healing of the grievance within.
Okay, so this is what I got from the book, and again, please correct me. So what you're proposing here is that what we come from is not, again, from a place of victimhood, but
Yes,
you're saying that to come from a place of from our oneness,
yes,
and then to go ahead and to say, well, okay, so what thought or thoughts in me do I need to heal for that? All right, so I'm gonna play the advocate here, but
yes,
Reverend Webb, you don't understand. You really don't.
yes,
I spent my childhood getting beaten,
yes.
bullied.
Hmm.
I spent my childhood in a home of drug addicts and alcoholics.
Yes,
There wasn't one day, Reverend Webb, one day where I did not feel safe.
yes,
So what you're telling me is this. You're saying that and I still have that today. I still live with the effects today.
yes.
So you're saying not to forgive them, but to forgive the thought? How dare you? Go ahead. I'm just kidding with you, but
I
go
know.
ahead.
How dare you assault my ego's idea of my victimhood?
Right.
How dare you diminish the experiences that have so had their impact on me? How dare you dismiss my pain? How dare you dismiss my story? I understand. That which you went through, we all went through. And I ask us all to take a step back. So what we do in the book, Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, is we take a step back. There are some actual pop-up meditations that we can do to get to that higher plane of existence above all the pain, above all the chaos, above all the energetic imprinting. In other words, there are some meditations that allow us to get to our higher selves, where we can see it a little bit more objectively. Because we can't heal it from down here where we are in the midst of it.
Right.
We must heal it from up above, from that higher plane of consciousness. So these meditations help us get to this higher plane of consciousness. And there's a different script running at that higher plane of consciousness. At that higher plane of consciousness, the script that is running is as follows. Prior to my life experience, I and my co-creators in this life chose certain roles and certain scripts so that we might heal. I chose these parents and I chose these circumstances because I was punch drunk on light when I was in spirit and I thought I could do anything. And I said, I'm going to bring all of this down right now and heal it all because there's enough light to heal it. And so I chose a very challenging path, like Carolyn Miss in her book Soul Contracts.
Right.
And I chose this path in order to heal. And from that perspective, we can see why we might have gotten involved in such a terribly damaging experience, because that experience caused us to call out for light, to allow the light to heal us so that we could be beacons of light for others. So looking at it from that perspective, we can see that this experience has just been a major call to love. And our task is to go within and allow the love that we have become adept at calling forth to heal those deep places within. And that's how we get to a state of peace, regardless of our past or regardless of what's happening outside of us. And that inner state of peace, that inner state of acceptance, is a state of forgiveness. It's an inner state. And
Go ahead.
go ahead. And acceptance is also one of those trigger words. The first question that I get quite often is the question you just asked, Michael. How dare you affront my victimhood? And you are so much more. And by you, I mean the generic you.
Right.
You are so much more than your current name, rank, serial number, and past. You are an eternal being. You are a spirit of light. You are love. You are grace. You are peace. You are joy. And you are eternal. And so this costume that you put on for a split second in the eternity of time in order to learn some lessons is just temporary, and you're so much more. And seeing it from that perspective helps you to see it.
If you have any questions this evening, please feel free to put them in the comments, because I think that this is, for a lot of us, even those who are familiar with the Course in Miracles, is a different way of looking at forgiveness. So please put your questions in the comments. All right. So Jim, again, I'm talking from that individual who's right across
Yes.
from me, who has gone through half a box of my tissues already, and I'm having
Yes.
to dig out another box.
Hmm.
They're saying, well, Reverend, you mean I'm to blame for bringing this on in my life? It's all on some level my fault. Is it some type of contract that I made with the universe before coming back here to be abused, to be neglected, to be discounted? How could I do that again from even from a place of consciousness on the other side? Your answer.
Yes. And we call that blaming the victim. And the answer is our souls are infinite. Our souls understand from a larger perspective that 70 or 80 years on the earth is just a drop in the bucket of an eternity, and the vast majority of that eternity is spent in light and bliss, in grace, and at one with God. So a portion of our soul decides to incarnate and to have this experience, but it's just a small portion. And what puts that into perspective is when we have those altered states of consciousness where we go into meditation and we feel that eternal self. And when we feel a release from our pain, and when we feel a release from the pressures of the world, and when we feel ourselves as more than our name, rank, serial number, and past experiences, when we give ourselves permission to experience ourselves as more than our human ego selves, that other perspective starts to make a little more sense, even though from our ego perspective it doesn't. So it's a thing that we have to experience. And when we experience that state, interestingly enough, we get addicted to that state and we want more and more of it because it's less painful, less difficult, less arduous, and less stressful.
All right.
And we go into that state more often.
Okay. Uh, so there's grievances that I have towards another.
Hmm.
So traditionally, that we are taught, even in therapy, is that
Hmm.
again that we give forgiveness, and that there is a trend even in psychological therapy is they're saying don't forgive.
Hmm.
Is that what that does? Is that draws your power back by not forgiving.
Hmm.
So let's say that we take the tract of, okay, so we are going to give forgiveness for this offense that we
Hmm.
feel hurt because of an offense. So the traditional way is to go ahead and to offer forgiveness, and that whether or not that they accept it or not, it doesn't matter, because it's the gift that we give to ourselves.
Hmm.
So what is the difference, and how do we get to that place that you're talking about?
They're actually quite similar. In order to give forgiveness, we have to feel forgiveness. And what do I mean by that? If you are ready to release someone from the pattern of pain that you've been engaged in with them, that is, in a sense, forgiveness, right? I release you from this pattern of pain that we've engaged in. Well, the first thing you must be ready to do is to release yourself. So I release myself from this pattern of pain. In this pattern of pain, I felt weak. In this pattern of pain, I felt unloved. In this pattern of pain, I've felt devalued. In this pattern of pain, I felt victimized. But as I experience myself as the light of God, as I experience God's love embracing me, as I experience God's grace moving into those places within me that had been filled with pain, this pattern of pain is healed. This pattern of pain is mitigated. This pattern of pain is neutralized. And I no longer feel this pattern of pain. So I no longer have a willingness to engage in this pattern of pain with you.
So now, okay, so again, if I'm having questions, everyone else is having questions out there.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
okay, so are you saying that so the work or the task is to
Mhm.
forgive that thought
Yes, to
of,
be in forgiveness with. And you see, this
okay,
is what's so challenging. The idea of forgive as a verb is so deeply ingrained in our minds that even I, at times, even though I've been teaching this for years, even I, at times, you still misuse it as a verb. But it's a matter of being in a state of forgiveness with this event, being in a state of forgiveness with this experience, being in a state of forgiveness with this person, where we are ready to release the patterning because we have released the pain. In order to release the patterning, we must first have released the pain. Because the pain is what we've been holding on to and perpetuating. For any energy we hold on to is an energy that shows up in our outer world.
all right, we do have some questions here. Let's see here. Let's go to Clarice's, and she says, uh, how how is accepting the difference from forgiveness? Whatever the origin story of how we came to be victimized, soul contract or whatever, isn't the goal to be free from the bondage of my past?
Yes, acceptance and acceptance is a step on the way to forgiveness. Acceptance is that first step. And let me tell you why. When you are in fight, and when we are not in forgiveness, we are in fight. There is something, right? I hate this. I don't like this. This hurt me. I hate you. I don't like you. You hurt me. We're in fight. When we accept, it doesn't condone the behavior, it doesn't condone the situation, nor does acceptance condone the perpetuation of the situation. What acceptance is, instead of condoning or allowing a situation, acceptance is seeing the situation more objectively as opposed to being in fight with it. From our bruised, hurt ego perspective, you hurt me and I hate you. But from that higher perspective that I've been talking about, which is where we must go in order to experience forgiveness, when we go to that upper room, we can say, okay, I can see this more objectively. And as I see it objectively, I can acknowledge where I am right now. That is acceptance. It's just an objective acknowledgement and assessment of the situation. And when I acknowledge and assess the situation, then I'm calm enough and I have the perspective to figure out what to do next and how to get out of the situation, how to change it, right? But in order to be ready to change it, we have to first have an objective, clear assessment of it so that we can take the necessary steps to change ourselves, which then changes the situation.
So, okay, so what you're talking about here, again, it's not the giving of forgiveness, it's being forgiveness
Yes.
and coming from a place of oneness and having a
Yes.
higher perspective,
Hmm.
which I, when I do counseling, I teach my clients to come from, again, from that higher perspective.
Yes.
Then what you're saying is that then from that from that from being forgiveness itself, which is, again, the life force, love, whatever that you want to call it, from coming from that place, then you can take a look at the thought and go ahead and to offer, and just to say, well, and to heal that thought. Am I on the right track here?
Absolutely. You go to that higher place, and from that higher place, you have a more objective view of what is happening. You have the anatomy of the grievance. The anatomy of the grievance is, I am feeling hurt because I do not feel loved. No matter what the grievance is, that is the anatomy of the grievance. I am feeling hurt, disappointed, depressed, worried, scared, angry, rageful, sad because I do not feel love. But when you go to that higher self, you are in the realm of love and you can direct that love to that place within you that was not feeling love's presence. And when you direct that love to the place within you that was not feeling love's presence, that part of you is healed. And when that part of you is healed, that part of you is calm, it is peaceful, it is clear. And from that clarity, from that place of peace, and from that place of power, you have what you thought you needed from that other person. The love you thought you needed from your mother, who was too busy to take care of you because your little sister was born 18 months later, that love, that hole within you, has been filled by the source of all love, which is God. So you may no longer have a grievance against your mother and your sister that showed up in lots of fights over the last 30 years.
Jane Snow has a question here, or Jane Bat. She says, can I do this work with offenders who have passed over long ago?
Absolutely. You can do this work with anybody. And you know why you can do this work with any of your quote offenders, end quote? Because it was never about your offenders. It was always about you. And what I mean by that is, remember how we talked about Carolyn Meese and soul contracts? Well, when we conspired with our angels on the other side and decided to all incarnate and have certain dramas, we gave them a script to read from. We said, I need to learn to love myself. So here's a script that shows me an outer reflection of my inner need for love. So read from that script. And you know what they did? They judged you and they criticized you because that was the script that you handed them in spirit. And so it was always about you, never about them. And you see, this is how we misuse forgiveness when we focus on them, because everything we do is creating something, right?
Right.
And if we're creating grievance, if we're in grievance, we're creating more reasons to grieve. But when we focus on ourselves, we change the energy within. And when we change the energy within, we then must have a different experience in our outer world.
Oh, absolutely. Well, if you're wondering what you stumbled onto this evening, this is the Miracle of Prosperity with Reverend Jim Webb. I am Reverend Michael Mangus. I'm his producer. And this evening we are discussing the brand new book just out on Amazon called Forgive Your Way to Prosperity. And because you are watching this evening, Reverend Jim has an extremely special price to offer you towards the end. So stay tuned for that special price here. Let's take one more question, then we'll go to break. Does that sound like a plan?
That sounds like a plan.
Okay, so let's go to Isabella. Oh, I like this question. I just had a convo with my sister. Well, first of all, Isabella, if you want to ever find out how healed you are, go back to your family. Okay. Because they know all your buttons because they installed them. But anyhow, okay. So I just had a convo with my sister. Ari, understanding how to allow a space for the divine to guide us through. Doing without doing. Your thoughts?
Okay, I need my glasses for this one. Okay, if I understand the question correctly, uh, forgiveness is a state of being. And what it sounds like Rosabella is also referencing is being in a state of being versus a state of doing. And let me tell you why this state of being called forgiveness is more productive than the state of doing forgiveness. Doing forgiveness perpetuates a separation. Doing forgiveness perpetuates roles. You know, when we do forgiveness, we are still keeping them in the role as our offender. We are still keeping ourselves in the role of victim. Sometimes we like to be righteous victims because when we do forgiveness, we feel like we're the higher spiritual being. We feel like we're the more evolved spiritual being. And we're up here and they're down here when we do forgiveness. But that doesn't heal the issue at the root. That only perpetuates and solidifies that dynamic. That only amplifies the energy of that dynamic so it keeps repeating itself. And that's why it's so unproductive. But it's important to know that you are a manifestation machine. Every thought you have manifests. Every action and reaction you have manifests. Everything you think and do manifests. Our task is to realize that quite often we manifest unconsciously. And if our unconscious mind is full of victim scripts, we're going to manifest more victimhood. And so we have to become aware of our unconscious mind. And the best way to become aware of our unconscious mind is to see what's showing up in our face. Because what's showing up in our face is a reflection of all of our consciousness, not just our conscious mind, but our unconscious mind as well. And as the father of modern psychology said, Carl Jung, he said, until we make the unconscious conscious, it will continue to rule our lives and we will call it fate. So, this introspection, this inner awareness, this going into the inner state of prosperity allows us to make the unconscious conscious. And then we can consciously create with all of our energy. And we don't have to miscreate with our unconscious energy.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we have a lot more questions. Individuals do have questions in our comments. If you have a question for Reverend Jim about his brand new book, Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, we will take them right after the break. Again, you're watching the Miracle of Prosperity right here on your New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center, Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
And we're back here on the New Thought Media Network, the Miracle of Prosperity, with my special guest this evening. We've switched roles this evening because I didn't want him to work on his birthday. All right, so it's Reverend Jim Webb, and we are celebrating the release of the brand new book here. His brand new book today, which is Forgive Your Way to Prosperity. And we have a special price, Reverend Webb, that we are offering this on Kindle. Could you please explain?
Yes, it's offered at a low introductory rate of only 99 cents.
What?
And that is just for a few days.
What?
Yes, and that is to get the word out. And this is how everybody under the sound of my voice can help over the next few days. It's only 99 cents. It's not a huge investment, but it will change your life.
Absolutely.
The more copies we sell, the more aggressive Amazon is in promoting it. And what that does is it gets the word out to a larger and larger universe of people who can be helped and healed by our collective ministry. So you can help me, you can help yourself, and you can help your world by buying a copy at this low introductory rate and moving it up on Amazon's charts so they then market it more aggressively. And you can also buy copies for friends. At the purchase, where you see the add to your cart, under that, there's an option to buy a copy for a friend.
Right.
You just put their email address in and you buy it for them. They get an email saying, Reverend Jane Batt has bought you a copy of The Miracle of Prosperity. You can claim it here on Amazon.com. So
How
think about
wonderful.
all the people that you know can benefit from forgiveness. Buy them copies. It helps you, it helps them, it probably helps your relationship, and it helps the world by getting the word out.
All right. So again, 99 cents here. We've already had individuals go online and buy a copy this evening. Let's see here. Yes. Is that your sister, by the way?
Nope, that's not my sister. She's
Oh,
my
okay.
sister, but she's not my biological
Oh,
sister.
not your biological sister. Well, thank you,
Amen.
Reverend, very much for buying the copy this evening. Hello, Deborah, again, giving birthday wishes to Reverend Jim. And yes, how wonderful. Well, we have all kinds of wonderful comments this evening. And let me go down to, let's see here. All right. From Reverend Butts, she's asking, is walking away considered doing something? I have found great joy in walking away.
Absolutely. Walking away is allowing yourself to be released from the pattern that has brought you pain. And I'll repeat that. Walking away is giving yourself permission to be released from the pattern that brought you pain. Now, the key here is to walk away in love, walk away with love. For if you walk away with the grievance, you will just recreate the grievance in your next experience. So the key is to use every situation for the purpose for which it was intended. It was intended to heal you. It was intended to draw your attention to an unconscious part of you that has been reflected outside of you that is ready to heal as part of your soul's spiritual contract, as part of your soul's spiritual curriculum. And so when you heal that part within you, there's a Middle Eastern saying, my heart is pure. And that Middle Eastern saying is indicative of, I can walk away with this with a pure and enlightened heart because it has given me what it was intended to give me. It has healed me where it has been intended to heal me. And I am now free of this energy pattern. My heart is pure. So, yes, walk away in love, with love as love.
And thank you so very much. Lorraine has a question. She says, I thought people saying let it go was spiritual bypassing. Let me stop there. Yes.
It is.
For many years, someone who's been in New Thought and also metaphysics for well over 40 years. Yes, that's what was taught in the past was
Yes,
again, just let it go. But then we still have the pain of it. So she goes ahead and she says, accepting I choose all that I'm going through empowers me to choose to learn what I've come here to learn, move on, and then let it go. Any comments on that, Reverend Webb?
absolutely. Let it go when it has nothing left to teach you, show you. When it has completed its task of healing you, then you let it go. If you let it go before that, you don't let anything go. You just take it to your next situation, which is why people seem to repeat the same situation over and over and over in life. Same stuff with a different script.
A- And also why the law of attraction does
Yes,
not work is because, again, that we have our spiritual pipes still clogged because of, again, of all the past emotions.
exactly.
So that's the whole idea of, again, of not doing forgiveness, but being forgiveness and coming from that state of our God essence, and then coming and then taking a look at it from that viewpoint. Uh, Reverend James Batt says, time seems to be speeding up. Can our healing speed up too?
Absolutely. Now, many of you know that the veil has effectively been lifted between our world and the world of spirit. You know this because so much of what we used to talk about that was spiritual arcana, arcane spiritual sayings, arcane spiritual concepts, they're now in the mainstream and we see them on TV every day. That's how much the veil has lifted. The veil has lifted because of people like you, people who have been doing the work for years and sometimes decades, who have opened their hearts to love, opened their minds to the thoughts of God, and opened their energies to God's grace. And in doing this, you have brought about an increase in the vibrational rate of the earth because of your speeded vibration individually and collectively. And when the earth's vibration is speeded up, the rate of healing is speeded up. The depth and the effectiveness of our healing is speeded up. And we can all testify to that. Things that we thought it would take us years to work through, now it's like a minor annoyance like a mosquito bite, and it's worked through in days instead of years. And the challenges and problems that we thought were intractable before, we see them dissolving before our eyes. And this is just a hint of what's to come. So, yes, our healing can and is being speeded up right now. There was an old spiritual saying, an old spiritual song, time is filled with swift transition. Now, if you don't believe that, 6 weeks ago, we had a totally different political landscape here in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
That is a testament to swift transition.
Yes. And Deborah Thomas comments, she says, this new understanding of forgiveness weaves compassion in our every move. It takes our entanglement to a new level of grace. Yes, Deborah, absolutely. So
Absolutely.
what are some steps now? You have some wonderful meditations that are embedded in Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, which means that all you have to do is go on your Kindle and then click on it, and then it'll take you then to a meditation. So, for someone who is new to this type of work, what do you recommend that they do, and what is one of the meditations that you recommend that they would take a look at from the embeds?
Experiencing the safety of God. You see, so much of that idea of victimhood and victimizer has caused us to feel unsafe, and at its core was because we didn't feel safe in God. So there's a meditation in Forgive Your Way to Prosperity that has to do with experiencing the safety of God. I am safe in the world I create with God. And from that sense of safety, you have a sense of security, you have a sense of protection, you have a sense of yourself as a co creator with God and the beloved of God. And this is a place of empowerment. And this energy of empowerment neutralizes any energy of victimhood that you have carried. So that meditation, creating safety with God, is one that I would suggest.
Thank you. And let's see. I think we have time for a last question here. Lorraine Johnson says, "What about when what we are going through with another is due to a past life that we know nothing about? Can having learned the lesson enable us to detach and feel forgiveness?" Good question.
Absolutely. In A Course in Miracles, there are many lessons that say when we are healed, we are not healed alone. We are not alone in the effects of our healing. And we know that energy travels out just like heat. So when we are healed, those around us are healed as well. However, that is not the only direction that the energy travels in when we are healed. When we are healed, uh, Spirit talks about our past lives as if they are one continuous life, like a guitar string. And you know that when you pluck a guitar string in one place, the vibration goes all the way up and down the guitar string, right? So when you heal in this life, that healing reverberates to 7 past lives. And it moves forward 7 lives. So not only are you healing the current life, you're healing lives, 7 lives back, and you're healing lives, 7 lives forward. And so your healing is quite effective, which is why you brought so much to the earth to heal now. Now, Spirit will give you any past lives that it is relevant for you to know, so that you can focus on them as a part of your healing. And that's one of the amazing things that Spirit can do, is help us to identify past lives that we brought to this life to heal, so that we can focus like a laser on them and heal them consciously.
Absolutely. Well, the brand new book is out today as Reverend Jim's birthday gift to you. It is Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, brand new on Kindle. It is available right now for only 99 cents. That's right. 99 cents. You can get it like now on Kindle. And if you could, it's a very short read, what, less than like 25 pages. Is that correct, Reverend Webb?
Yes,
All right. So
yes.
it is a pretty quick read. It's going to take you a while, though, to get through the meditations. But if you could go ahead and uh, read the book, and then please give a 5-star review. And also, if you could, send a copy to other people. Again, it's 99 cents. You can go ahead and you can send it to others, again, to allow them to really to get to the place of forgiveness. And for a lot of individuals, that even in spiritual paths, even though it said, people say, you know, well, you need to forgive that, you need to let that go. Still, that for some people, that is a real tough place. And I think that this book, Forgive Your Way to Prosperity, from Reverend Jim, will really help them to get over the hump and to really come from a place of healing. So, Reverend Webb, what else are you doing in the world today? What else? What else are you offering to help heal the planet?
I am offering a new class that begins on September 9th, called Healing Soul Trauma. Spirit speaks on past lives. And this is what I was alluding to with Lorraine's last question. Because many of the things that we came to heal are our soul's trauma, and they are the result of past lives. So, Spirit is going to give each person who takes the class insights into the past lives that have bled into this life that they came to heal. Spirit will offer prayers like a laser, light and healing to heal those energies, and guidance for how to create something different. So people get a chance to ask questions of Spirit, receive healings from Spirit, receive insights from Spirit on the past lives that are blocking their prosperity right now. So that's on Thursdays beginning, I'm sorry, two Mondays beginning Monday, September 9th. And then on Thursdays, I'm doing another class, which is an experiential class called Deepening Your Connection with Spirit, where you learn to create a deeper spiritual connection, where you learn to talk to Spirit, where you learn to hear Spirit, where you learn to discern Spirit, where you may even sharpen your reading skills, your psychic skills, your channeling skills, because that all that is a deepening your connection with Spirit. So we'll do 6 weeks of practical exercises, practical work, practical experiences, deepening our connection with Spirit, so you can feel that blessed assurance that comes when you know that Spirit always has your back. And that begins on Thursday, September 12th. And there's a discount on signing up for these classes that ends
What?
tomorrow. Yep. You save $75 if you sign up for these classes, because these are twofers, two
Right.
classes for the price of one. But if you sign up before tomorrow, before midnight tomorrow, September 2nd, you will get a $75 discount on the price.
And we're both not kidding about this. His classes sell out extremely quickly. So if you even have an inkling that you want to sign up, please, please, please visit Reverend Jim at revjimwebb.com or send him an email, revjimwebb at msn.com, or you can even text him at 202-253-6009. Again, now is the time to sign up. If you have any
Absolutely.
kind of wanting to take this class, now is the time. And Reverend
Yes.
Jim, I also understand that you have a brand new program on Monday evenings. Tell us about that.
Yes. It's called Spirit Speaks on the World Today. And it is brand new. We just started about 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, when the world seemed to turn upside down politically, and people were wondering, what's going on? This is such a rapid change. I got to wrap my head around this. What does this mean? And all the pundits were yapping. And something told me, well, what does Spirit have to say all about this? So each Monday at 5 p.m., you get Spirit's perspective on what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on uh, in other parts of the world, what's going on in our political systems, what's going on with the earth and earth changes, what's going on. You get Spirit's perspective on all of this. And people have found that to be quite empowering as well.
Yes, and so that's tomorrow evening. That's at 5 o'clock Eastern time. That's 3 o'clock Mountain. Here on both Jim's Facebook and also YouTube page, and also on the New Thought Media Network Facebook and also YouTube page. Also, any final words, Reverend Jim? It was really a happy birthday to you, and you get to take us out this evening.
Yes, I am just so thrilled to be offering the book Forgive Your Way to Prosperity. That approach to forgiveness has changed my life, and I know it will change your lives as well. I'm excited about the new classes and everything that we're doing because the earth is shifting rapidly as a result of all of your growth. So I want to thank all of our viewers tonight. I want to thank you, Michael, for being the interviewer tonight. Thank you very much. And you can close us out, Michael, but I thank you for this evening.